What's up, everybody? This is Steve K here with you all once again with another video and another movie review once again. The recent one I did was the movie Good Burger, and this is going to be another 1990s movie. I want to say it's from the year of 1994, but if I got that wrong, oh well. This is based, well, it's not based on a true story or anything, but it's based on the world of sports, actually. And to be exact, it's has to do with baseball. I'm going to get the film up real quick. It's 93. Okay, so I was a year off. It was either 93 or 94, so yeah. The movie is one of my favorites that I grew up watching back in the 1990s. I really didn't see it till like 1996, I want to say, or 97. I own it on VHS still, don't have it on DVD, and I don't think they have it on Blu-ray. It wasn't like a successful movie, like an award-winning film or anything. It was just, a good, funny baseball movie. The movie is entitled Rookie of the Year. This stars a kid played by, his name is Thomas Ian Nicholas. He stars as the main character, Henry Rowengartner. Also has Gary Busey in it, and it's about a kid who wants to be like a pitcher or a baseball player in the major leagues. So I do have the story right here on Wikipedia and stuff, the plot, but I've seen this movie several times, so I'm just pretty much gonna say it the way it is. So the film begins at Wrigley Field in Chicago, and it's like raining and stuff, and they're getting ready to open. It's like opening day, the first game of the season, and we hear the announcer played by John Candy. And as the baseball season is beginning underway, the Chicago Cubs are facing like the Giants or some team, and it leads off with a supposedly a home run from the player, and a ball is caught by a kid, and he says Rowengartner makes the grab, unbelievable, and that's when we're introduced to him, and he is with two of his friends on his way to his little league baseball game, and as he is on his way, he is stopped by his mother. Don't know exactly. We'll get to her name in a second. Like the lady, I don't really know her as well either that well, but she is an actress. So, and just says to him like, if you don't like get to play or whatever, I'm gonna make you do the laundry. Yeah. And as he's on his way, his mother throws him some sunblock and throws it in the air, like lofts it, and it goes way over his head, like 3 or 4 feet. So, at his little league game, the outfielder who is playing in the game was either going to be him or Henry. So he is sneezing because he has allergy, and he keeps like going "Hachu," and he calls him Windermere, some name, and he's like, "Windermere, what's wrong with him?" So he takes him out of the game and puts Henry in the game, so Henry gets to play. And as he is playing the outfield, he's playing in center field, I think, or no, right field. I'm sorry, because the coach said, Rowengartner, get into right field. So as he makes his appearance to right field, a fly ball comes near him in right field, and he is getting under it, but he, backing up too far, crashes into a fence, and he falls to the ground and cannot find the ball because of his hat covering his eyes. So he does luckily find it, but doesn't know which direction to throw it. The coach is telling him to throw it home, so he turns around and throws it over the fence. And everybody in shock, and one of his friends says, "Is that play legal?" Apparently, because he just threw it over the fence, so it would be a home run, I guess. So as he comes home, he still has to do the laundry, because even though his mother said if he doesn't get to play, he has to do the laundry, but he still does. So he goes downstairs to put the load of laundry in and puts something in there and thinks about being a pitcher because his mother says to him about being a pitcher like his dad was. So he throws the detergent thing, whatever, into the dryer, and it goes, or whatever the thing is he throws into there. It's just like something he throws into the washer dryer, and he like goes strike one. So there's a possibility that he could be a pitcher. And the next day at school, he is with his friends, and he is trying to talk to this girl that he is supposedly in love with, but he Well, actually, he's looking at this girl that he supposedly has a crush on and stuff. Doesn't really get to talk to her, but talking to his friends and saying that he should like go for her. And he's like, "But get it, guys. She won't like me. And besides, she's not that hot." And George is like, "Not that hot. She's stacked." Yeah, and that being no said in a PG movie because it is rated PG. Now at recess, Henry and his two pals are walking around, and one of the players from the Little League game the other day sees him and tells him, "Good game yesterday." And as they're walking away, he calls him again and throws and hits a fly ball to him to go and get it. So Henry, going after it, goes to get the ball, but unknowingly does not see the ball on the ground and steps on it and falls like 5 or 6 feet into the air and just crashes down to the ground, landing on his right shoulder and hearing a crack in it, like supposedly he broke it. So he gets up and has his arm in a cast like this. And the mom is saying to the doctor, like, how long we have to be in the cast? And the doctor says August. That's the minimum. And that is 4 months, like April, May, June, and July. Well, May, June, July, and August, pretty much. Like if you want to include April, I guess. So again, he's in the cast for that, and the whole entire time he has it in there. And then one day, like in like August, I guess, he is now able to get the cast off. So they are testing out his arm, and they take it like this, and then to the side, and then when he bends in, you can hear like creaking going like that. Now the doctor says to Henry, and now rotate from the shoulder slowly. So it's just creaking, and then just stands still, and then a second later just goes like that and smacks the doctor in the face. And unknowingly that was going to happen, and the doctor is holding his nose like this and supposedly going to say the F word, but goes funky butt loving because it sounded like he was going to say like a curse word or something, but with the movie being rated PG, of course, and he's just holding his nose like that, and just when he says it, when I heard that, I was laughing for sure. I mean, I love that scene. That was funny. So, and his one friend George, is George and Clark are the name of his friends, by the way, and the George kid just says, "Did he just say funky butt loving?" And indeed he did. So he's just saying, I think what happened is those tendons have healed a little tight. So he is free to go. So now, as they're leaving, his mom surprises him and his friends with 3 tickets to the Chicago Cubs game for what she calls Happy Cast Off Day. Yeah, just to mention it. So they're on their way to the Cubs game, and they arrive, and there are barely any fans at the ballpark. There's probably at least over thousands and thousands of seats left. Like probably about for attendance wise, I would guess probably about 1,500 maybe, or 1,000, maybe less. So the Giants have their pitcher Chet Steadman on the mound, played by Gary Busey, and he is pitching and doing a very horrible job as he throws up a home run to a player on the other team. I think it's the Dodgers they're playing, but it really doesn't make a difference. But as I hit the home run and the fan gets in, they're telling the guy to throw it back, and he does. And when he throws it, it goes right into the cage area of the seats area, and it does not go away and over the fence or whatever. It just stays in there. So now, as the rest of the stuff that's going on, the like the owner of the Cubs, played by Eddie Bracken, I think, Mr. Carson is his name, is not really like paying attention or anything. Just opening a box of Cracker Jacks and finds a decoder ring in there. And meanwhile, back in the office, the Mr. Fisher guy, who is like the general manager or whatever of the Cubs or something, and his executive or whoever the other guy is, it says to him, if we don't sell out the rest of the games, or we'll have to like forfeit the franchise or something. So they need like a miracle. They need like to get back winning games and stuff, and need people to come to the game and stuff so they can like, sell the tickets and stuff. And if they don't sell them out, then they'll have to forfeit. So as Chet Steadman is still on the mound, he throws up another home run to a player, and this time Henry's friend George gets it and is about to throw it back and says, wait a minute, this game is on cable. So gives it to Clark and says, sure, I'll throw and get razzed or whatever, or booed, So he gives it to Henry, and as he is getting ready to throw it, he takes it back and his arm is creaking and just looking and throws the ball and goes all the way back from the audience and the crowd all the way to the catcher on all the way to the catcher's area, all the way down there to home plate. The crowd in shock, including the announcers, the owner, and the other people, just from what happened. So unknowingly, the catcher with the ball and the player that hit the home run had not scored yet, with the ball supposedly back in play, just slides into home easily and tags him too late, and the umpire calls him safe. And looking back at Henry, they want to know who he is, but they get away from the crowd from what happened. So Mr. Fisher wants to know who he is and wants him to, be on the team, supposedly. So Henry now with his friends is getting ready to play some ball with them and getting ready to throw a pitch, but his mom and her boyfriend arrive back, and he is getting ready to show getting ready to throw the pitch, and as he does, it throws at supposedly looking like 100 miles an hour and breaking a window, and the mom drops the groceries and in shock, and George says, "Gosh, Henry, you could play for the Cubs." And her boyfriend Jack as well drops the groceries too, and is now on the phone with the Fisher guy, Mr. Fisher, or Fisher, because they call him that a lot in the movies. Yeah, in the movie. So he just says to him that, him playing with the Cubs would be a good experience and stuff. So the next day, the manager of the Chicago Cubs arrives at the house to meet Henry, Sal Martinella. No idea who plays him, or the boyfriend of his mother in there, Jack. Doesn't really matter again. So he greets Henry and is looking for Henry Rowengartner, but he mistakenly and does not know that Henry is only 12 years old. So as Jack arrives, he introduces him and says, "This is Henry Rowengartner, the next Nolan Ryan," because Nolan Ryan was one of the best pitchers in the 80s and 90s and stuff. And around 1993, Nolan Ryan was coming to the end of his career, and 93 would be his last season before he would retire, and was inducted to the Hall of Fame years later after that, and received the second highest percentage of votes. The second highest percentage of votes. The other one that has the highest is Tom Seaver. And the third highest, just to mention, because he's one of the best Orioles to play the game, is Cal Ripken Jr. Cal received 97 some percent. Nolan Ryan received 98.2, I think, and Tom Seaver received 98.7, I want to say. Nobody's ever received 100%, but yeah. So now, as they take Henry to a park to check out his pitching, the manager has a radar gun, and it's showing that it is hitting 98 miles an hour and 99, and is very impressed. So Mr. Fisher makes Jack Henry's manager, and they get 10%. So that's pretty much how it goes down. And now he says to Henry if he wants to play for the Chicago Cubs, and he is impressed by it, but he says he has to ask his mom first. So the next day they're at a press conference, and Henry is now introduced as the new pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, signed at only 12 years old. So they want to see him pitch, so the Mr. Fisher says come out to Wrigley and watch him pitch. So everybody is excited about it. Henry arrives to Wrigley Field, but his friends cannot join him as they're only for players, so he is introduced to the whole entire team, including Chet Steadman, who wants his autograph but denies and says, "I don't do autographs anymore." So Henry is greeted also by Mr. Phil Brickma, played by Daniel Stern, who also directed this movie. He plays a pitching coach as well in this movie. And as he's telling Henry about all the things in baseball, he fills his mouth up with chewing tobacco and puts too much in his mouth and spits the whole, is almost choking on it, and just in a very low, high voice. It says, "Suit up. I'll see you out there." Yeah. Funny guy in this movie because he has a lot of pretty good funny scenes in this. So as Henry is now ready for his start, the um, whole entire Wrigley Field, is sold out of so many people and stuff. And Chet Steadman is on the mound once again and struggling again as the Cubs are facing the New York Mets. So Steadman serves up like a triple to one of the players, and he served up a hit to one of the people, and then the area where Henry is in the dugout, they get a call from Mr. Fisher and tells the manager to put Henry in, and tells them that he's not ready, but said, "I don't care. We got a sellout crowd, and they're not here to see Chet Steadman." So the crowd is now chanting, "We want Henry. We want Henry." So Henry starts to warm up, and the next hit, of course, is the triple, and Steadman is now taken out of the game, and Henry makes his debut. And the first batter he faces is a big, huge guy. This has a name of Hedo, like Hedo, some reason. He's not even a professional ball player or anything, just somebody that's just an actor, just portrayed a fictional baseball player. So the first pitch Henry throws is a fastball, and it is a home run hit by the batter. And it travels like so far and stuff, like probably out of Wrigley Field. It never shows where the home run lands. So the Mets are like back in the game now, and it's like the 8th inning or whatever inning it may be and stuff. So the next batter he faces, he hits him on the next pitch. The catcher has a talk with Henry, and this says just rock and fire. The next batter, Henry throws a wild pitch over the catcher's head, and the runner tries to advance from first all the way to third, but the catcher gets the ball and throws it to third and gets him out, and that ends the inning. So pretty much the Cubs wound up winning the game 5-4 over the New York Mets. And the manager, now talking with Steadman, tells him, like, teaching to pitch and stuff. But Brickma, he says, the pitching coach, so Brickma now has a little conversation with Henry and says, "Now, the 3 R's to baseball are this: readiness, recuperation, and conditioning." And says, now, see, like a lot of guys like to ice up their arms like after the game. A lot of them think that heat is the suggestion as well. And says, but I have the solution: hot ice. That's right, hot ice. I heat up the ice cubes. Yeah. I mean, Daniel Stern, is a funny guy. Also from the movie Home Alone, as you know, in Home Alone 2, just to name a few. Now at school the next day, Henry now trying to have a little conversation with the girl that he likes and stuff. Says that they have a boat and stuff, but they really do not. And says they have like wood in the big shape of a boat, said from earlier in the movie. So they say now that they're like going to make a boat and stuff. So they take a motor from George's dad or somewhere, and they're going to like make it to him, put it on the boat. So now Henry is saying he's going to be late for practice. So he arrives at the ballpark, and Brickma is taking batting practice and hitting the ball, but the whole entire time he is hitting the ball in the cage, he hits the ball, it bounces up on the netting and comes down and hits him on the head. And just goes, you see what I did there? Huh? You see that? And now he's up again. This goes, now, give me the good stuff. And swings again and does the same thing again on his head. Now, just saying he's going to do it again, he goes like that, takes the bat and goes, let the big dog eat. And does the same thing again for the 3rd time. Yeah, so now the manager tells Henry that he's going to be working with Steadman on his pitching, and also tells Henry that he is fined $500 for his late appearance to practice. So now Henry, working with Steadman on his pitching, now fast forwards to the next game against the San Francisco Giants, and another pitcher is pitching and doing not so well, and the fans are chanting again, we want Henry. So he warms up, and also his mother and his friends are in the audience as well to watch him. So he makes his appearance and winds up hitting another batter once again. Chet Steadman comes out to have a conversation with him and just tells him, you have to have the hatitude or havitude. And he's like, my what? The hatitude. The hatitude is what you do when you're afraid. Like, win half is the better half or whatever. That's like just a scene and stuff. And like he never understood it, and he was like, the hatitude. What the heck was I talking about? And Henry's like, what the heck was he talking about? So now the next batter that comes up, Henry gets him to ground out into I think it's a 5-4. I think it's a 5-4. It's either no, I think it was a 4-6-3 double play. Yeah, I think it was 4-6-3 double play. The second baseman and shortstop and all that, because these numbers are just 3 is the first baseman, 4 is second base, 5 is not the shortstop, 5 is the third baseman, 6 is the shortstop. It was like a 4-6-3 double play. So there you go. So he gets the double play, and he thinks that he gave up probably another home run or something, but he didn't. So now there's 2 outs, and the Cubs are 1 out away from winning like 2 games in a row, supposedly. So now the next batter he faces, he throws a strike for the first time in his career now, and he swings and misses it for strike 1. The next pitch is another swing and a miss for strike 2, and the third pitch is a strikeout. So he gets his first strikeout and his first save, or second save, as he said he got like a first save in the other game, but yeah. So now, after the game is over, Henry sees a ball in his pants pocket and is autographed by Chet Steadman, even though he said he doesn't do autographs anymore. So he does that, and now Henry has his friends on the field, and they have a little fun together, like a little baseball game together. And Chet also meets Henry's mother as well. And now the next day, they are going on the road now to California to face the Dodgers. So Henry and Mr. Brickma are heading on the escalator, and his mom throws again this sunscreen in the air, and this time he catches it. And now on the airplane, they're having a discussion, and Mr. Brickman, Daniel Stern's like going, now on the field, we conserve our energy. On the road, we conserve our food. And he's like, everywhere we go, there's free food. And he says, now, I take this cake and I wrap it up in my vomit bag. I put it on ice, take it back to the hotel, and in the morning, voila, breakfast. But as he is doing this, telling about this conversation, he is like moving his hands, and he winds up hitting his tray, and it like supposedly falls like in the lap of the manager next to him. So he goes to take care of that, and Chet Steadman, seated to the seat next to him on the right, tells Henry to come over, and they have a little conversation, and tells Henry not to call him Rocket anymore because he's not the Rocket anymore. Because he would throw a fastball like so fast and stuff or whatever, and that's why they call him Rocket. But there was another pitcher that was called Rocket, and that was Roger Clemens, and a baseball player named Rocket as well, named Tim Rock Raines, or it may have been just Rock, but Rocket, of course, was Roger Clemens back in the day. So as they arrive now in California, or Los Angeles, supposedly, they arrive at their hotel room, and Henry, on the phone with a friend, has to get going to catch the bus to go to practice, and Brickma, unaware that he has left, has locked himself inside the doors of his hotel room on the other side, and Henry's on the other side. So he is stuck in between the doors, and is just in there and just looks up and says, low help now. Now, as they are in Los Angeles facing the Dodgers, Henry, pitching in relief, strikes out the batter, and now, as he sits down, the manager says to Henry, are you good for another inning? And he says, you betcha, Sally, baby. So he says, good, you're on deck. And he says, huh? And he tells him again, you're up after Ferns, so he has to bat, because he said he's good for another inning, but Chet does not want him to bat. But he says you got to learn sometime. So Henry is going to bat now for the first time in his career. So he stands into the box and is greeted by a standing ovation by the Los Angeles crowd. And as he's getting ready to waiting for the first pitch, the umpire tells him to step into the box as he is not in the box. So he steps in halfway, but still comes in. So his mom watching the game somewhere else and everybody else. And as he's getting ready to deliver the first pitch, his mother's going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And then Chet goes, "Oh my God, oh my God." And then Henry goes, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And the pitch comes at him and he falls down immediately because it goes so fast and is ruled a ball. So Henry gets up again, and the Cubs thinking that he did that intentionally to him, like to maybe scare him or whatever. So he steps in, and the same thing again. "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And he throws it, and it's like a little bit of a slower pitch, and he falls down again, and it's ruled ball 2. And the pitcher not happy with what he's saying, and says he's got no strike zone. So the mother supposedly saying something. She said, "You big ugly piece," and they cut it out, and Chet supposedly says "shit" because of what happened. So now the next pitch he delivers, and he looks away, and it is ruled ball 3. And the pitcher again just going, "Call strikes. Who cares how short he is?" And Chet just says, "Keep your eyes open. Stay low." So he throws it again, and this time it is ruled and is ball 4. So Henry is walked on 4 pitches, much to the crowd's delight, to a smattering of boos. So he reaches first base, and now he is taunting the pitcher. Now, this is one of the funny scenes in the movie. I think that is hilarious because he looks at the pitcher and is taunting him and goes, "Hey, pitcher, 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 pitcher." And the manager and Chet Steadman not approving of what he's doing and stuff, thinking he's trying to get out or something. So he's just still taunting him, goes, "Hey, pitcher, you got something hanging out of your nose," because he's got a big mustache. And just looks and just throws the ball to first and tags him. The mother's like, "He hit him too hard," and this guy's just like, "He was just trying to make the tag." So now Henry off the base and taunting the first base, going, "Can't get me," and gets back on the base and making faces again. This time goes and tries to tag him again, goes and still tags him, but he still gets back. Now as he is stepping off the base again, and now this is one of the most probably memorable scenes and stuff or whatever. This is when he is off again, and he goes, "Hey, pitcher, pitcher, pitcher. Pitcher's got a big butt. Pitcher's got a big butt." And the pitcher just looks, as he's looking at Henry, and he looks over his side and looks down at his butt and is like saying, "Is my butt really that big?" But of course, he does not really say that, but he does when he looked over like that, and just not thrilled with that. He throws again to first base, and it goes over the head of the first baseman. So Henry advances to second base from the wild pitch or the pass ball. So now Henry, now at second base, and still taunting him, going, "Pitcher, nanny, 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 you can't get me." The manager now enjoying it, but Chet not, because, yeah. And now he says another one. Now this was pretty funny because he says, "Hey, we want a pitcher, not an underwear snitcher." And still making faces at him. So he now throws the next pitch to the batter and hits him right in the back. And he points to Henry and says, "That one's for you, kid." So a little warning from the pitcher. So now he starts to mock him again. But the next batter drills the ball, and it goes supposedly to right field at the wall. And Henry, not paying attention to the runner, tells him to start running. So they do. They run together, and they both score all the way from Henry scores from second base and the other runner from first base. So they both score and celebrate. And there you go. Now, as Henry has become the most popular person in baseball now with his pitching and stuff, and has all of a sudden has made him a star. So now he and his mother and Chet Steadman leave in a limousine from their road trip and are now on the road. And Chet now suddenly now in love with Henry's mother, share a little dance together at a little nightclub that they go to, and so do Henry and Mr. Brickma as well, because Mr. Brickma was later found by the housekeeper maid and opened the door, and he was still just like that. And when he got out, and just was able to get his arm down. So yeah, just another scene I forgot to mention, but yeah. So as they're at the nightclub, they are dancing together. Chet and Henry's mother, Mary, and unknowingly, Jack is there as well, having a drink, Mary's boyfriend, and sees what's going on and makes him sick. So he is now, Mr. Fisher now comes to the place there and shares a drink with Jack, and tells Jack that he's been talking with the New York Yankees and are saying that they want to buy Henry. They want to buy him for $25 million. So Jack wants to supposedly do this, and they'll be in New York together. That's where they'll move, supposedly. So he says, if you get Henry to sign the contract, then it's official and stuff. So he says to Fisher that he'll do it, and said, but you got to do me one thing. You got to get rid of Chet Steadman. So he says that he'll do it. So they are in agreement to do that. Now Henry's friends, George and Clark, still working on the boat. George becomes furious that Henry has become so popular and stuff that he's been too busy to help them and work on the boat with them. Now Henry doing a Diet Pepsi commercial like Ray Charles did in the day, and doing the song "You Got the Right One, Baby." Another cool scene as well and stuff. Yeah. So now Mary, now with Jack, has the contract and tells his mother to sign it. So she does, and asks her what she thinks of New York, but just is in shock to hear about that. Now the next day, Henry comes to his friends and supposedly to help him with the boat, but George, not too happy with him being popular, just gets mad at him and starts a fight with him. So they all start a fight together, and that's just pretty much what happens. So now we go the next day, and now the Cubs game is in a rain delay, and Henry is just sitting playing a Game Boy game while Chet has a conversation with Mr. Fisher. Sec here. So Chet has a little conversation with Mr. Fisher, and he says to him, the franchise is tired of waiting for your arm to come around. So you're going to sit out the rest of the season on the bench, and we're releasing you. So supposedly that's going to be the end of his career, and he's going to probably retire at the end of that, pretty much. So Chet Steadman takes Henry home, and in the car just has a discussion with him, and just says, Henry, don't take this game so seriously, because one day it's going to be over. Your gift will be gone. And just says, don't forget that. So as Henry arrives home, Jack is there on the phone with some people and says, I had a limo waiting to take you to the photo shoot, but he tells him that Chet gave him a ride home, but he tells him to go get ready for the photo shoot, but he says he's not going. So as he is trying to get away from Jack, but Jack confronts him and just tells him that he shows him some respect, but he said, you're not my father. And he's like, that's right, I'm not your father. Neither is Chet Steadman. And in fact, your mother probably doesn't know who your father is. That's probably like one of the most serious scenes in the movie, just a little bit and stuff. But the mother, luckily home and stuff, confronts him and throws him out of the house and breaks up with him and tells him that they're moving to New York as Henry has been sold to the Yankees as they signed the contract. But it does not happen. So Mary throws him out, punches him in the face, which is pretty funny, which he honestly deserved. And Mary just tries to explain the whole thing to Henry about his dad or whatever, but Henry knew the whole story pretty much and said that his grandma told him like when he was 6 or something or whatever. So just a little scene and stuff, just pretty much, and that's really it. So now we move on, and Henry is now with his friends once again, and now they have the boat ready, and Henry supposedly like maybe to join them and stuff, but they are ignoring him at first. But as they get the boat in the water, and George says to him, "So are you coming?" And he tells them, "Yeah." So they take the boat out for a ride on the lake somewhere, or a lake somewhere, wherever it is. So, and they see the girls that they like at the school at a beach somewhere. So they offer them a ride in the boat, which they accept. So they all join them, and they all enjoy the boat ride together. Now Henry comes back home to his mother and says to him, "There's something we got to talk about." But the scene cuts to the next scene, and it's back at Wrigley Field, and Henry comes to the front office of the owner of the Cubs, Mr. I forgot his name now. Well, the owner of the Cubs, by Eddie Bracken. So I guess Mr. Fisher, I guess, or whatever. So he tells him that he is not going to be back next season. So he is pretty much going to retire from baseball. He loves baseball, he admits, but he's just not going to be back for next season. So he respects his decision, but wants to know why he wanted to sell him to the Yankees, but that was not his idea, and it was apparently his nephew's decision, because Mr. Fisher is his nephew as well, or something like that. Or Mr. Carson, that was his last name. I'm sorry, I just forgot exactly. It's all right. So he tells Henry that he is going down to the field level and watch him win him the division, because it's like the game is for the division. So, and now he says that he's going to take care of a little business, and Mr. Fisher looking with a worried look on his face. Now we go to the area in the place of the ball players, like the clubhouse, whoever. So the manager, Sal, informs Chet Steadman that he's starting tonight, and unaware that he was going to be starting. And so now he is going to be on the mound for the game, and Mr. Brickma, forgetting some stuff, forgot his lucky seeds, he says. So as he's going to his little place to get his seeds, his little gate thing closes on, so he is locked in and cannot get out. So as the game is ready to begin, Chet is on the mound once again, facing the New York Mets for the division, and pitches very well. And then the next inning, the Cubs take a 1-0 lead, or 1 or 2-0 lead in the next inning. And now Steadman in some trouble in the next inning, now gives up some runs, and that supposedly makes it 2-1, or it was either 1 or 2 runs he gave up or something like that. So now it's 2-1. So now we're and later in the innings, now Chet still in the game and stuff. He winds up blowing out his arm on so many pitches, and the runner thinking if he's going to throw the ball to first or wherever to get the runner, or if he's going to test him or whatever. So instead, the runner comes from third and tries to score, but Chet cannot throw the ball because of his arm blowing out, runs with the ball and jumps to home plate and tags out the runner at home, preventing them from tying the game. So Chet just tells the manager, "I'm done," just said, as his arm is done. So now they're going to turn the ball over to Henry now. So he warms up and comes into the game now and does spectacular. Strikes out 3 batters in a row, pretty much. And now, as he's going to go to another inning, as the Cubs still lead, he is now going to go pitch again. And now, as he's getting ready to take the mound, there's a ball on the mound somewhere, and Henry winds up stepping on the ball and falls into the air from what happened earlier in the film, and lands on his shoulder from what happened before, thinking that he's hurt again, but he winds up getting up and saying he's okay. But as he takes the ball and throws it to the catcher, it misses the catcher's glove by 5 feet, and realizes that his pitching arm is gone, and his tendons or whatever, they're That he can't throw hard anymore. So now Henry, not knowing what to do, throws 4 pitches in a row and intentionally walks the leadoff batter. So now he brings everybody in for a discussion and says that he can't throw hard anymore. So now they have a little discussion, and as they do, the first baseman has the ball, and Henry does not, and throws supposedly the ball in the air, but it's the pitching rubber thing, or you know what it is, and the little salt bag thing. So the runner unknowingly unaware of it, and Henry just says, "Gotcha," and tries to get back to first base because he's off the base, but the first baseman has the ball and tags him out. So there's 1 out, and this is in the 9th inning, like the last inning. So that's 1 out again. So now the next batter comes up, and the catcher this time calls the intentional walk, so they walk him on 4 pitches. So now the batter who walked, thinking he's going to get involved with the hidden ball play again, but winds up not happening. So Henry, with the ball, purposely drops it and tries to get the runner to run, and doesn't fall for it. So Henry now calling him a chicken and going like, bark, 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 little scene and stuff, and tries to get him to run, and he still won't do it. So the runner now said, "You throw the ball real high, and we'll show you who's chicken or whatever." So Henry throws the ball in the air, only about 5 feet, and grabs it and runs to tag out the runner, and he does. So now there are 2 outs, and they got 1 out to go, and now the next batter is the guy who faced Henry before in the beginning of the game in his major league debut, and that is the Hato guy, the big guy who hit the home run. So Henry doesn't know what to do, so he'll just do anything he can. So he throws the first pitch, which is a changeup, which he does not throw very much. So the batter misses it very late and takes a big, huge swing at it. So it's 0-1 now. Now the next pitch he throws is supposedly like another one, but he drills it and goes down the left field line, looking like it might be a home run and probably tie it up. But it just goes way down the line and travels really far, and the umpire sees it and goes, foul ball. So it's a foul ball. So now, as Henry is now ready to throw his third pitch, maybe strike him out, looks at his glove and sees like a cover on it of tape, and takes it off, and it says Mary, which is his mother, and realizes that it was his mother that was the pitcher and stuff, pretty much, that it was her, like when she said that his father was a pitcher, but it was her. So she tells him to float the ball. So in agreement, he does. So he throws a really high, like floater, like really high in the air and stuff, and the pitcher, or the batter, just waiting for the ball and just in disbelief, and so is everyone else in the crowd and the announcers. So as he's waiting for the ball to come, he takes a huge swing at it, and you hear a big, like, whoosh sound, like he missed it, and it lands into the catcher's glove, and it is a strikeout. And everyone celebrates as the game is over, as they have won the game just like that. So Henry's celebrating with the team and everyone else in happiness. Looks at his mom and throws the ball in the air that he had, and it comes down and it lands in his glove as he catches it back in his Little League game. So now pretty much that's where it's back to and stuff. So they just show that. And Chet Steadman, now supposedly his coach now, is cheering him on, and his friends, George and Clark, come to celebrate as well, and his mom. And as he looks at Chet with a smile, and Henry looks at the camera with a smile and shows his hand with a World Series ring on his finger, as they pretty much won the World Series. And there you go. And that's the end of the film. Yeah, I mean, so pretty much like out of a 5 for this film, like I've done before, I'd actually give this movie a 4 out of 5. And the reason why I give it a 4 out of 5 is because it's one of my favorite baseball movies growing up when I was a kid. I know it's probably not some people's favorites. Like, I'm sure you all like other movies like The Rookie, the Dennis Quaid movie, The Sandlot, Field of Dreams, Bull Durham. There's lots of baseball movies that are probably, better than Rookie of the Year to some people. Like, probably it's that movie A League of Their Own as well. But League of Their Own is kind of like a true story and stuff. Well, it's about the All American Girls Baseball League, but that's another movie pretty much. But it is a good movie. But like I said about, excuse me, like I said about Rookie of the Year, this is one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, and it still is, because I really like this movie. I like the story of it. I do like the Chicago Cubs. They've had good players over the years, like Sammy Sosa, Mark Grace, Mark Grudzielanek, Ryan Sandberg, Chris Bryant right now is a good player. Dexter Fowler, I think, who played for them as well. Anthony Rizzo. Even though that Sammy Sosa was one of the best to watch in the 90s and stuff, but then when the stuff came up, I pretty much just did it right there. And of course, their pitchers like, they had Greg Maddux for like in the beginning and stuff, and then for like a few years. Of course, Jake Arrieta, who won the Cy Young Award, former Oriole from 2010 to 2013, was traded to the Cubs for Steve Clevenger and Pedro Strop as well. That wound up being, in my opinion, a little bit of a disappointing trade to us, because he did so well with the Cubs, but oh well. But he is doing a very good job for the Cubs. He's a good pitcher. Yep. But there was actually some players in this movie that did play themselves, some professional baseball players. There were 3 of them. When Henry is like striking out these people supposedly in these games, like the first one is Bobby Bonilla, another Oriole from 95 and 96. The other, I think, is somebody named Wilton Guerrero or something like that, because I think it said Guerrero. And the third one is Barry Bonds, as he strikes out as well. And Barry Bonds in that time was playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates as well. And he just, after he swings and misses, just looks and goes, whoo. Now, if they probably had Ken Griffey Jr. in this, that would have been pretty cool too if he was in the movie. But he was playing for the Mariners, as you know, who are an American League team. And this was, with National League teams, like the Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, and all that. And the Pirates they showed, and the Cincinnati Reds too. That Guerrero guy was playing for them. But yeah, like I said, this is, in my opinion, a good movie. It has a good story to it and stuff. A lot of funny scenes, because this Thomas Ian Nicholas person I just really never heard of, because when this came out, I just thought it was like an actor or somebody that, that I probably knew or something like that. But no. But pretty much, I said the whole story of it. Gary Busey as Chet Rocket Stedman, Amy Morton as Mary Rowan-Gardner, his mother. Yeah, she just was nominated for 2 times for a Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play for performances in August, Osage County, and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Now for performance in the films Rookie of the Year, Up in the Air in 2009, The Dilemma, and Bluebird. And in 2014, Morton began starring as Sergeant Trudy Platt in the NBC drama series Chicago PD. And there you go. Let's see. Robert Hy Gorman as kid who played Clark. Bruce Altman as Jack Bradfield. Dan Hedaya as Larry Fisher. Albert Hall as Sal Martinella. And Eddie Bracken as Mr. Bob Carson. Hmm. He also was in another one as well. I think he was in National Lampoon's Vacation as the guy that's like the owner of Wally World. Yeah. And Daniel Stern, of course, is Phil Brickma. Yeah, he did a very good job of this movie. I mean, he did direct it and stuff, and I think it was very much a good film, like I said. And oh, the guy is Pedro Guerrero, so it was not Wilton Guerrero. It was Pedro. Never really heard of that guy, but he has like 215 career homers. And the other people I mentioned, John Candy as the announcer. Yep. So that's pretty much it. And that's the cast. And it says here the film has received a 39% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes based on reviews from 18 critics. Well, and a young adult novelization of the film was written by Todd Strasser in 1983. At one point, Henry hits a grand slam due to his incredible arm strength. However, this stands in contrast to what occurs in the film, as Henry is not shown to be a competent hitter. Also, Daniel Stern's comic relief character, Phil Brickma, is not mentioned in the book at all. That's just pretty much everything just to read, so there you go. But I pretty much described the whole film, so there you go. And that's probably just going to wrap it up for this movie review. So I hope you all enjoyed this. So like, comment, and subscribe, please. And like, give your reviews about the movie if you want to as well. I mean, you're welcome to say anything about the movies I reviewed. So thank you all for watching. Enjoy. And you all take care. Thank you.